Jack Grealish may be sold by Man City this summer in order for them to generate funds to make some more signings. Now, 100 million he cost Man City. And a lot of people think that Jack Grealish is a flop. And I don't agree. Now, to me, he was never worth 100 M's. Even when he was cooking at Aston Villa, he was a player that should have cost 60, maybe 65 million the most. They fleeced Man City, overcharged them as they should because they're going to be losing their best player. And now I think people are judging Jack Grealish based off of the price. And because he does not get the goals and assists, now he's a flop, right? But to me, people just overrate GA entirely too much. Look at what Jack Grealish was doing when he was at Villa. He had positional freedom. He was their best player. He was their most creative player. He was everywhere. He was on the ball constantly. And now look at him at Man City. Pep has killed him. His system has ruined Jack Grealish. Sometimes this guy's playing at left back. He's at left wing. He can't hold the ball. He got to do a give and go. And if he does anything that's not a part of what Pep wants him to do, then you see Pep yelling at him. It doesn't really make too much sense. Like, the creativity that we saw at Villa is no longer there. Jack Grealish is not the same player that they bought. And I believe that that's down to Pep's system because Jack has to do a lot of the dirty work. KDB and Haaland, they don't track back. They don't press. So when you have two guys who are just in the team to only worry about scoring goals or creating chances, that means that the other players around them have to do the legwork. Jack Grealish has to track back. He has to exert most of his energy defensively because KDB's not doing that. This is why you see like Bernardo Silva, Phil Foden, two guys who I think are better than De Bruyne, but they don't get the plaudits for it because they're not the ones getting the fancy assists. They're not the ones scoring the screamers, and they don't have the PR like KDB does. But I don't think Jack Grealish has been judged fairly at Man City. He is a good player to me. And I think if you're a Big Six club, and if Jack Grealish is available, and if you don't go sign him, you're an idiot because Jack Grealish is better than most of your attacking players. He would cook in a system where he had creative freedom. But at Man City, he does not have that. And I cannot classify him as a flop because regardless of him not having the goals and assists, he's still been a very crucial player for them. This season, not so much. He's been dealing with injuries, and he hasn't been able to play that many games. But last season, when they won the treble, he was arguably one of their best players. And in the last 2 seasons, he's only been there 2.5 seasons. He's won 6 trophies. The guy's won a Champions League, multiple-time Premier League winner, UEFA Super Cup, Club World Cup. He's living the dream. But I just don't think playing for Pep suits a player like him. The system does not work. And the player that you saw at Villa is not the player that you're seeing now. But Jack Grealish is a baller. And if I'm them, I'm not selling him before I sell like Jeremy Doku or Matthias Nunes, right? Because to me, he's better than those guys. You also could sell Kovacic as well to raise funds. Doku is just a pace merchant, kick and run, no skill, okay at shooting, decent at creating, but is he really better than Jack Grealish? No, he's more explosive. But that's all that people seem to care about is pace. Because on FIFA, you rather use Doku on FIFA than Jack Grealish. What's the guy's name? Nunes, that they bought from Wolves last season. Was he supposed to be the Gundo replacement, or was that Kovacic? Because both those guys are mid, in my opinion. Kovacic, Nunes. What have they really done? They're just being carried. They can't talk to Jack Grealish. Neither can Doku as players. So, if they really did have to sell money, and if Grealish would want to stay, I'd keep him. And as I said, I'd sell Kovacic, but this Nunes and Doku. Doku's not good. I'm sorry. I know that he scored, a hat trick against, Luton Town or something crazy. Or, he did something crazy one of those early on games against a bottom half team and everybody was losing their damn mind. But I don't rate him at all. But if Grealish is available, though, I don't know if he'd move abroad, though. Because I'm trying to think of what other elite club would go in for him. And I can't really think of it outside of England. So if you're Arsenal, if you're Man United, Chelsea, teams like that, maybe even Tottenham, I would go in for him because he's a good player. And I think he'd be an automatic upgrade to any team he starts for any other Big Six club. And yeah, I just think that he's not been really judged that fairly. Just because he costs 100 million and he's not bagging 20 goals a season, that doesn't make him a flop. And he was never a goal scorer like that anyways. And I don't know why Man City agreed to pay that much money for him, because he wasn't worth that. As I said to start the video, he's worth about 60 to 65 million. They paid 100 for 100 M's. I don't blame people for thinking, yeah, he should be scoring more goals or he should be getting more assists. Of course, because that's what you pay 100 million for, especially from an attacking player. But he was never that kind of guy. Yes, he was a very creative player, and he was responsible for a lot of things that Villa had going forward. But 100 million was just way too much. That's English tax right there. And also, with City being the best club in the country, and with them arguably being the richest club at the time, of course Villa are going to overcharge. Jack Grealish was the heart and soul of that team. And Villa are actually doing pretty good this season. Look, maybe they might come in for him. Their owners are rich. I think their owners are actually caked up. And they'd be able to probably bring him back. Who knows? Villa make good signings. Unai Emery's there. They got a decent team. So who knows? Maybe he goes back to Villa. But I would think a big six club would go in for him. I think maybe Arsenal. That'd be a good deal. Just saying, Gunners.